Nobody ever thinks that they're gonna grow up and lose their kids and start using drugs and end up in prison. Growing up, my childhood was good at times, and then other times it was just really terrible. I remember being molested by somebody really close to me. When I was 15, I became pretty promiscuous. I ended up pregnant for the first time, and I decided to terminate my pregnancy. The weight of the abortion was just unbearable. One day, out of nowhere, my mom invited me to go to church to meet a guy that was there, and we actually ended up getting married. My husband and we began fighting a lot. I was actually in the process of getting Landon dressed. I was putting his little clothes on when I heard a knock at the door, and when I opened the door, 2 policemen were standing there. I had to give them Landon, and I had to leave the house until I went to court. The pain that I felt when they took Landon from me was so immense that I went back to the one thing that I knew would help me to forget about it. What I didn't know was that drugs are temporary, and I needed something that would give me true strength. I ended up having 2 more children in my addiction, and after losing custody of both of them, my addiction took me to an all-time low. After getting divorced a few years later, we actually ended up getting back together, only this time we were both on drugs. Running out of ways to get money for drugs, we actually ended up breaking into his parents' home. I was facing 56 months in prison, and so I decided to turn myself into this rehab. I knew that I couldn't keep doing the things that I was doing out on the streets. It was at this prayer circle that something truly amazing happened. I was holding hands with 2 other people and just started crying out to God. The weight of everything that I was facing was just too much to carry on my own, and I needed His help to get me through this. And as I was speaking, something started to happen to me. I went from feeling so heavy and weighed down to completely free. One day, I was sitting on the bedroom floor on fire for God, just praying to Him, saying, Lord, I will go anywhere that you want me to go to share your story. And when I opened my eyes, I saw prison on the TV, and I was like, no, God, anywhere but there. In jail, there's not really anything to do other than tell your story, so I just started sharing my story with all of these different girls, just telling them how God had saved me. And after listening to my story, all of these girls were giving their lives to Christ. It was amazing. After getting out of prison, I was praying about what church I would call home, and my mom told me about a church called Bayside. My first time attending Bayside was awesome. I knew I was exactly where God wanted me to be. After praying that God would give me opportunities to share my story, God has opened up so many different doors. God has really kept good on His promise of restoring my family. I'm able to be a part of my children's lives again. This is a story that shouldn't be left untold.